Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I am Dr. Hassan Rizq, Associate Professor of Human Anatomy and Embryology. Today, inshallah, I will start to demonstrate our body skeleton, bones forming body skeleton. Bones of our body are classified into two main groups, into axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton. The axial skeleton is formed of skull, mandible, sternum, ribs, and posteriorly it will be the vertebral column. These are the bones forming the axial skeleton. While the appendicular skeleton is formed of four main skeletons, two upper limbs, right and left, and two lower limbs, right and left. For descriptive purposes, and today, inshallah, we will start to describe or to demonstrate the bones of the limb. For descriptive purposes, we can classify bones of the limbs into four regions or four segments: girdle, proximal segment, middle segment, and distal segment. The girdle is responsible for fixation the limb to the axial skeleton. Let me to apply these concepts on the upper limb by which I will start today, inshallah. So the upper limb is formed of the following parts. These two bones, which are the girdle, which is known as shoulder girdle or pectoral girdle, which is responsible for fixation the upper limb to the axial skeleton. Then this is the proximal segment, middle segment, and finally the distal segment. The girdle is formed of two bones. One bone that lies anteriorly, which is the clavicle, and the clavicle connects the whole upper limb directly to the axial skeleton through this joint, which is known as sternoclavicular joint. And the second bone that forms the shoulder girdle that lies posteriorly, which is known as scapula. And the scapula connects the upper limb through groups of muscles connecting the scapula to the vertebral column. And the clavicle and the scapula articulate with each other through this small joint, which is known as acromioclavicular joint. So these are the two bones forming the shoulder girdle or pectoral girdle, clavicle anteriorly and scapula posteriorly. Next, the proximal segment is formed of only one bone, which is this one. This bone is known as humerus. It's known as humerus that form the skeleton of the arm. So here I have a note. What is the difference between humerus and the arm? Humerus is the skeleton of the arm, but when the humerus is covered by muscles, vessels, and nerves, now it is not humerus, it is known as arm. And the humerus is connected to the shoulder girdle or pectoral girdle by this small joint, which is known as shoulder joint. So that here we have a note. We must differentiate between shoulder girdle, which is formed of clavicle, scapula, and the shoulder joint, which is a joint between humerus and the scapula. These two joints, shoulder girdle and shoulder joint, all are known as shoulder complex. Shoulder complex. So the shoulder complex equal shoulder girdle and shoulder joint. Third, the middle segment of the upper limb is known as forearm. And the forearm is formed of these two bones. One bone that lies lateral, which is known as radius, and another bone that lies medial, which is known as the ulna. These two parallel bones forming the skeleton of the forearm. When the forearm is covered, when these two bones covered with muscles, vessels, and nerves. Now we are dealing with a structure which is known as forearm. Radius and ulna articulate with the humerus by this joint, which is known as elbow joint. So the elbow joint is a joint between the humerus and radius and ulna. Then radius and ulna articulate with each other by three joints. This small joint, which is known as superior radio-ulnar joint, and this joint is known as middle radio-ulnar joint, and this distal one is the distal radio-ulnar joint. Elbow joint together with the superior radio-ulnar joint, these two joints together are known as elbow complex. So here above we have shoulder complex, while below here is known as elbow complex. Then the distal segment of the upper limb is known as hand, and the hand articulate superiorly with the radius to form this joint which is known as wrist joint. And the bones of the hand is formed of 27 bones. Each bones articulate with each other by several joints. Bones of the hand, which are 27 bones, are classified into small bones, which are known as carpal bone, then metacarpal bone, and finally the phalanges. The phalanges that form the skeleton of the fingers. These are general description for the bones of the upper limb.